In this video, we are going to discuss about understanding usage of custom user interfaces and how it is used in yeoman. Interacting with external environment to take custom user requirement is one of the important element of any application development. And yeoman believes in that. Yeoman does that by interacting with the end user, whoever is using the generator or the yeoman as an interface, by collecting the required input and then making part of the application environment. Now here we are going to discuss how yeoman interacts with user. Typically you'll find yeoman running in a terminal, but yeoman supports custom user interfaces as well. In order to take care of embedding user interface so that it can interact with the user, yeoman provides you various user element abstraction. One of the important element that you need to always remember is you should avoid using console.log. Instead of using console.log, yeoman provides you various interaction tools which can be used. For example, prompts in order to collect input from the user. After collecting input from the user, you can store it in user preferences. And finally, you can also pass input to the generator by using arguments when you are invoking the generator from the command line. So avoid using console.log and prefer using interaction tools which are provided to us by yeoman in form of prompt, store, and passing argument from the command line. Now let's have a look over how we will work with prompt. When we plan of taking input from the user, prompt is one of the essential tools which is provided to you by yeoman generator. And there are three different components that you need to focus on when you invoke a prompt method. First is it's an asynchronous method, so it will not have bottleneck of ensuring that users are blocked. Second, it returns a promise object. Being an asynchronous call, it will return you a promise object which can be used in order to embed as an answer to your prompt. Third, we can prefer using prompting queue for feedbacks in order to ensure that we are able to collect data from user and finally store it in a queue and use it to provide feedback to the user about the entries which he has made. In order to utilize prompt, we can go to index.js file which will contain a module. That module will extend generator, and inside that generator you will have a method called as prompting. This prompting method has to be initialized with certain arguments, certain parameters, like it should return the prompt which is entered by user. Then you can specify type of prompt which can be input or confirm. You can give a name to the prompt so that you can refer to that prompt element in your application. You can specify message which will be displayed to the user while prompting, and you can also specify the default current folder name by using default this.app name. You can have multiple prompts specified in a single return because this.prompt method takes an array, and that array can have multiple different type of prompts, like it can have type input, it can have another prompt which is of type confirm, and you have to specify all the arguments which are specified, like type, name, message, default, and also reaction of the application in case if a user enters some of his preferences. Now let's see what is the directory structure where actually preferences are stored. Once user enters preferences, all user preferences are managed in yeoman by keeping the configuration in a file called as .yorc.json. You can manage these elements which need to be stored by using yeoman storage API. There are various methods which can be used in order to manage elements that you want to store by using storage API. And storage API provides you an object called as config, which provides you various relevant methods in order to interact with the storage. You have this.config.save, you have this.config.set in order to set an attribute that you want to store. You have this.config.get in order to retrieve an attribute that you have already saved, and you have this.config.delete in order to delete entry. Typical structure of yorc.json would be it will contain the generator's name followed by the elements that you have stored by using this.config.set. For example, here you have UI bdd rjs false. These are the elements which are saved using this.config.set. In this video, we discussed how we can use custom user interfaces in Yeoman to make Yeoman generators more productive and more user friendly.